Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, replay crew. Hey, lurkers. Hey, everybody out there. I hope everybody is having a good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. I am off my game today because Judy's not here. I don't know where Judy is. I just texted her and I haven't heard back from her. So I'm a little worried. She's never been late before. She didn't tell me she had an appointment or anything. I'm just not used to her not being here. She's never just not here. So we are on part 23 of the Betty Broderick trial. And we are on, let me see. We got a ways to go, but we're towards the end. We have more testimony on his case in chief. So, let's see. What? Bye. Oh, this just says multiple witnesses take stands. So this is going to be like the last video where it's just a bunch of different witnesses. I'll just have to tell you who they are as they come up. Or, well, I guess we're going to find out together. We'll just find out together as they come up to the stand who they are. All right, StreamYard, behave yourself. Share. Share like your mama taught you. Come on.
Matt, could you please say your full name for the record and spell your last name?
Yes. My name is Victoria Boulder Curry. C-U-R-R-I-E.
Thank you.
Curry, what do you know Betty Broderick sitting here?
I met her in about 1976-77.
And how did you happen to meet?
A neighbor of hers who lived down the street, Wilma Engel, had recommended her to me to take care of my children, my son.
Okay. And do you have a son the age of Danny Broderick?
Yes, exactly the same age.
And what?
Somebody somebody's children. Don't start.
Do you have a son the age of Danny Broderick?
Yes, exactly the same age.
And what?
And also a daughter who's the same age as Red.
Okay. Was there a reason that you were interested in having Betty Broderick take care of him?
Objection,
Well, sustained.
Okay. Did they become friends? Your children?
Yes, they became best friends. He was there 5 days a week. I was working regular hours, and I saw her all the time.
And can you describe Betty Broderick during the years 1977 and 1982?
Yes, she was.
I'm sorry. Could we go sidebar?
Yes. Can you describe Betty Broderick in the time you met her through 1982?
Yeah, she was very much what I would call the Earth Mother type. The kids were always around her. My son and daughter both looked forward to going over to their house for her to take care of them because they had such a good time and she took such good care of them. Her whole life was really oriented around child caring. And I would not call her a socialite in any.
How would she dress?
She dressed in sweats, tennis shoes. She had a station wagon. She'd load them all up. She was, as I said, very down to earth.
Did you become aware of in 1983 as to at least some suspicions Mrs. Broderick had in regards to an affair?
Yes, during that summer, she first mentioned something to me that she suspected Dan might be having an affair with his secretary or paralegal, whatever. And
Objection, non-responsive.
Sustained.
Now, before, was there a change in the way Betty talked about Dan after 1983?
yes, she wanted to believe what he said.
Your Honor, excuse me, I'm sorry for interrupting. Non-responsive.
Sustained.
Was there a change in the way Betty talked about Dan after that period of time? Did she become more critical of him at times?
Yes, she verbally was critical of him, whereas before she said, she criticized things more, like when we all talked. It was sort of normal conversation about, he did this or he did that, and after that it began to change. She just couldn't. After
Objection.
80.
Sustained. Ask you another question now.
Now, during this period, was Betty taking any steps to change herself to please Mr. Broderick?
Yes, she was constantly telling me that he was critical of her. Specifically, one week she'd say, he thinks I'm too heavy, so she says I'm on a new diet. Then she would say, soon after that, oh, he thinks my skin is broken out too much, I'm going to a dermatologist. She would then say, he doesn't like the way I dress, so she would go out and buy some new clothes. She was constantly, it was something else that he's critical of.
Did she seem to be having problems with self-esteem during this period of time?
Yes, in fact, she told me there was someone at the church who she knew about that was, she had met before, who was teaching a self-esteem class. And she told me that she'd gone back to have some private counseling on self-esteem, that she just couldn't seem to do anything right.
Okay. How would you describe Betty's attitude about money when you first met her?
She was extremely generous to her friends, to her kids. All the play, the swings, the trampoline. The money that I saw spent was primarily for the kids.
Okay. Was there a change in her spending habits that you saw at any time?
Not really.
Were you aware that Dan and Betty eventually separated in 1985?
Yes.
And how often did you see Betty after their separation in 1985?
Just sporadically. I was living out of the state most of the time.
Okay. Would you become aware of times where she was, you knew at that time that the children were living with Dan, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Were you aware of times when she was having plans on having the boys visit and they just didn't show up, were not able to come?
Objection, close to hearsay.
Do you have any personal knowledge of that, just yes or no?
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
I just know that we would talk on the phone and she would tell me that they were...
Objection, Your Honor, close to hearsay.
No. Sustained.
Were there any times where you were present where there were plans that were canceled?
Yes, Betty had talked about bringing Danny over to my house, and then she wasn't able to do that. He would arrive, and Dan would have brought him. And she had told me that the plans were that he was coming to spend the weekend with her, and that she would bring him over so that the two boys could play together. So when Dan brought them, I knew plans had changed.
Did you become aware at some time of problems with the babysitters at Dan Broderick's house?
I just, when Danny would be over at my house, I would hear him complain that nobody was there. He couldn't go different places because there was no one to take him. It just sounded like there was not very much supervision, and he complained about the food and quality and lack of. And
did you ever hear Betty use profanities?
yes, but not until after, I don't know, 1984, 85 maybe, something like that.
Okay. And can you describe those occasions? Was it all the time?
No, no, it wasn't. And the only time that I really heard it was in reference to Linda or Dan. And I really didn't hear anything else. And I mean, it was done in frustration because she had never done this before. And so, I mean, I could understand. I mean, she just felt totally frustrated with her life, with herself.
Was there, when you were present and with her and the children,
Yeah, and people feel frustrated with their lives all the time. They don't kill people. Judy, you scared me. Dang it. Fibromyalgia is has another weird thing. It makes you burp. I don't know why. Betty is currently incarcerated at the California Institute for Women in Chino, California. It is located about an hour east of LA. Ugh, sorry. The original California Institution for Women was in Tehachapi in 1932. However, after the 1952 Kern County earthquake, the female inmates were transferred to the just opened CIW in Chino. In the early years of CIW, convicted women wore Sunday dresses while walking and working at the campus-like setting. Huh. I wonder... I guess it would depend on the women. Some women dressing up like that could have felt like a privilege, you know? Like, because some women like to dress up, you know? I am not one of those women. Jeans and t-shirts, shorts and t-shirts, that's my thing. But some women like to dress up, so that would have been like a reward for some women. They would have liked that. I don't know if I think that's a good idea or not. But anyways, they don't do it anymore, so it's cool.
was her behavior at that time, did it seem to be appropriate?
Yes, she was just her old self when she was with the kids.
I have no further questions.
Cross down.
This is her, you never heard her use inappropriate language in front of the children?
Well,
I can't.
she just jumped on that. It was no, I'm so-and-so with the state. It was just, See, now I'm being stupid because I'm so relieved that Judy's okay.
Remember that. I honestly can't because I was gone, as I said, from about June 1985, and I just don't remember. I did hear her. We talked on the phone, and I periodically saw her when I came to town for maybe 3-month stretches. But I just don't remember that. I admit that she did call Dan. She did use some words about Dan and Linda. And
Did you ever hear her using those words in front of the children? Did you ever hear her?
honestly, I didn't. But I really, quite honestly, don't remember. But I didn't. It made no impression on me, and something like that would.
Did she ever talk to you about the fact that she was doing that? That she was saying sexually explicit things to the children? That she was telling the children to do violent things to their father or Linda?
No, she wouldn't tell me anything like that.
Okay, so she would do some things then obviously that she would not tell you about.
Your Honor, that's totally
sorry.
wrong.
No, but
That's
she told her
argumentative
kids
sustained.
those things.
Well, you were not aware then of any inappropriate conduct that she engaged in with respect to conversations that she had with the kids, or what she was telling them to do, or how she was telling them to do it?
She, as I said, I had very little contact around with her. I mean, I'd go to lunch with her when I was here. We were good friends. But I didn't know, I didn't hear until later about calling up and leaving messages on the machine. I had no idea about that.
Okay, so you indicated that most of your contact, you had very little contact with her after 1985, that's what you're saying?
I had contact with her every time I was here. Some years I was gone the whole year, but when I was here, I did talk to her on a regular basis. We were longtime friends. We shared the same birthday. We had done everything together. So, I mean,
you indicated that she was obsessed during that period of time. She was obsessed with Dan and Linda, correct?
what, the 1985?
Following her separation.
Well, I'm not, that was 1985, is that
Yes.
right? It consumed most of her life. I mean, she wanted to get the children back. I mean, she wanted to get things settled in her life. She's trying to get control of her life.
Did you talk to her in 1985 about what she was doing to try and get the children back?
I don't remember.
Objection.
Overruled.
Did she ever talk to you about the fact that she specifically requested her attorneys not to request custody of the children?
Your Honor, I have an objection to this area.
Overruled.
It's proper.
All I know is that she wanted those children, and she was trying to gain control of her life and get it back in order so she could have them. I mean, that was where it was all trying to lead to.
Okay, that's what she was telling you, is what you're saying.
Yes.
She did tell you about taking the children over there and giving them to Dan. She did say, he's out having a great single life and all I have is 4 kids. Why should I take care of them while he's out playing, correct?
I might have said something like that, but that referred to the fact, first of all, she would never have given up those children if she thought he would take them.
Well,
I mean, that's for sure. And that
Miss
she
Curry-
used it as a ploy.
Oh, okay.
Yes, she used that as a ploy to make him assume some responsibility, which he had never had with those kids.
So she did admit to you that she did give him the kids, and she did say, why should I take them if he's out playing?
Yes, she said that, but I mean,
And did
I
she
understood
talk-
why she said it. It was very obvious to me.
Okay. Did
Knowing
she
her-
talk to you about the opportunities that she had to have the kids back in 1986 and 1987? Did she talk to you about any people that were trying to encourage her to take the kids back in her?
1985 to 1980, 1985, 86, 87, I was gone completely from here. So I just periodically spoke with her on the phone, birthdays, Christmas, whatever.
You know, it's one thing to call your ex's bluff about something in a divorce settlement, but your kids are not the thing that you do that with. You don't try to prove they're not a responsible person with your kids. They're not pawns. They're not possessions in your divorce. Who gets the kids? They're not. They're little humans. You're gonna scar them for life. Although Judy did trivia a while back saying that the kids were okay, which pleases me, but this is, the last two the trial we're doing now and the one that we just finished is horrific. What they did to those babies. They didn't even get a chance to live. But this is just as bad. If you use your kid as pawns in your divorce, it messes their head up. And that's just as bad. Because what do you turn out to be when you're, like, they know their mom gave them away and then killed the person that she gave them to. It's like, well, she didn't want me, and then killed the only person that wanted us. It's like, I'm just so ready for Jesus to come back. This world is such a mess. There's such evil out there. It just breaks my heart.
And are you saying that prior to 1982, prior to 1983, you never heard Elisabeth Broderick be critical of Dan in front of other people?
No more than any of us would. I mean, when we periodically get together, oh, let me tell you what he did this morning, or, I mean, it was just very normal, very typical of what, all our friends would periodically say.
Did you get any feeling that she was unhappy in her marriage or that she was happy in her marriage?
I think she was critical that he was never there, and he wasn't. I rarely saw him. We did socialize periodically, but it usually was our birthday. And I know I worked.
Excuse me, my question was, did she tell you whether she was happy in the marriage or unhappy in the marriage?
I don't think she ever really said. She just was critical of he was never there.
There were times when you socialized together with her and her husband, correct?
A few times, yes.
And you described him as being friendly and outgoing and as someone who
Right.
great storytelling.
Yes.
And did you ever hear him say to her that she was fat or say to her something degrading? Did you ever hear that?
No. But she told me that.
She told you that. And when you talked to her prior to 1983, you never heard her call him a fag or call him an asshole?
No, I never ever heard her use a four-letter word. I don't recall during that time up until, I don't know.
Did you ever
after
see
83.
her shunning his affections during that period of time?
No, but I didn't really see him too much.
And with respect to money, it is true that after 1979, 1980, that she was spending a lot of money
Well, relative to what?
relative to how she had spent before. And she talked about the fact that she was buying a lot of jewelry, she was buying a lot of clothes, they were going on a lot of trips.
Not really. I mean, to me, I still saw her doing it with the kids, and she bought the girls, took very good care of the girls with their clothes. The kids always had a new bike or the newest kind of gimmick skateboard or whatever, and that's really more where I saw the money going.
Have you not said, though, that in the last few years of her marriage that you saw her buying expensive clothes and expensive jewelry?
I guess she did, but I mean, she did.
Okay.
But I don't remember it being any more than it didn't stand out in my mind compared with the people that were all around and her friends.
What about the parties that she gave? Didn't she give lavish parties where she had
No.
dinners?
I mean, I went to her Christmas party. I never had dinner at her house. She never, I never, we would go out periodically, but she did have a Christmas party, and it was very family oriented, and the kids all dressed alike, and I mean, it was their day.
image was important to her, right? To have that appropriate image for other people, dressing all the kids alike, and that's.
Well, I don't know. She either did it. I think she did it for herself. I never got the feeling she was doing it for anybody else.
So you never went to any parties that she had in the afternoon for women where she hired musicians or?
No, I went to one lunch, but I just don't remember sitting outside in the backyard. But that's about it.
When you're indicating your connection with Danny coming over to play with your son, that would have been prior to 1985 because in 1985 you moved. Is that correct?
That's right. But then we came back for these, 3-month stretches, and Matt and Danny were best friends. It's a kind of a friendship that they're still continuing.
Going to kill his dad?
No, I never heard anything.
I have no further questions.
Broderick?
No, Your Honor. Witness be excused.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
All right, call in Dick.
And while she's coming up, Your Honor, please do a quick sidebar.
All right. Take our afternoon recess at this time, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be in recess until 3 o'clock. Please remember the admonition. Matter of the people of the state of California, Elisabeth Broderick. The court finds all members of the jury panel are present. All counsel are present. Mrs. Broderick is present. Ms. Go forward.
Dr. Gant, and I will for this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Would you please have a signal witness stand?
Afternoon, ma'am.
Now, could you please state your full name for the record and spell your last name?
Ann, A-N-N-E, B as in boy, last name is Dick, D-I-C-K.
Thank you.
Do you know the lady at the end of the council table here, Betty Broderick?
Yes, I do.
And what year did you meet Betty?
We moved to San Diego in 1976, and I met Betty and her family probably 6 months later.
Okay. And how did you happen to meet?
A mutual friend introduced us.
Okay. And what was the purpose? Was there a purpose in your meeting?
At that time, I had transferred my membership in the Junior League, and I needed to do a year of transfer volunteer work. And my older two children were in school, and I needed someone to watch over my youngest child. And our mutual friend had said that Betty would be willing to watch over young children so that her children had someone to play with. And that was the reason that our friendship was initiated.
Do you have a son the age of Danny Broderick?
Yes.
Okay. And was she watching other children at the same time?
Yes.
Okay. And did she, at some point in time, was she taking money for watching the children?
Yes. I paid her, yes.
Okay. And do you know what things she was doing with this money?
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for his.
Well, sustained.
Do I know what she was doing with the money?
Don't wait till the answer to the other
Oh,
question.
excuse me, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. Was she spending money on the children at that time?
Yes.
For how long of a period of time did she watch your child?
Well, Christian was 6 months old when we moved here, and then Christian and Danny enrolled in the first half-day three-year-old program at Parker. And Betty continued to take care of Christian even when they were in half-day school together, because sometimes I wouldn't be able to pick up Christian. And so Christian would go home with Betty and Danny, and then I would pick him up later in the afternoon. So probably over a span of 3 to 4 years.
Was there a reason that you had her watch your child?
Yes.
Overruled.
What was that?
Ann?
Well, interestingly, Christian was our third and last child, and I could have afforded to made any sort of child care arrangements for Christian. One of the options was an older woman who would drive to my home.
Your Honor, excuse me, I'm sorry, but I believe that's not responsive.
Sustained.
Okay. What was the reason for her, for Elisabeth Broderick?
Excuse me, I was trying to explain that in the context, this was the best child care arrangements that I could make, and I had many choices.
That's fine.
And this one was the best one that I could have possibly have arranged for Christian.
Okay. Did Christian and Danny become friends?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when they went to Francis Parker, did Betty participate in the school activities there?
Yes.
Okay. And how would you describe her participation in school activities?
Well, it was far better than mine.
Okay.
She was very involved, and I was off doing other things, whereas Betty was very focused on what the kids were doing and very involved in their activities.
What was her relationship with children at that time?
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled, you can answer that.
It was a very good relationship. She was a very creative mother. They were basically the focus of her attention and her energy.
Okay. Did you and Betty do things socially during that period of time?
Sometimes we would, sometimes we'd have outings with the kids, but they were basically anything social that we did. We either were focused on the children. A couple of times we tried to put together things that involved our respective husbands, but it just didn't seem to work out.
Okay. And how would you describe her during those years as far as just the way she looked and what kind of person?
Well, she looked remarkably different than she does today. She was very energetic. I would select an adjective such as svelte. She dressed very well, very nicely. She was fun to be around. She was very happy.
Okay. And was she someone who was wearing expensive clothes, sweatsuits? How would you normally describe her when she was around with children?
Well, probably 80% of the time that I saw her, she was dressed appropriately to take care of little children in the backyard. So it would not be silk blouses. It would be more along the line of sweatsuits, that sort of thing.
Okay. Was and how often between the time you met her and up until 1982 would you say you saw her?
Well, I can't be precise, but I would say at the most I would drop Christian off maybe 2 and 3 times a week.
Okay.
There would be reason for me to need to be away from home.
Was there at some point in time a change in her spending habits?
Well, not the sort of change that I would describe as an overnight change. There was a gradual change. And I think as Dan became more successful, the spending habits probably changed commensurate with his earning capacity.
Okay. Was that the whole family or just Betty?
Well, Betty did most of the buying for the 4 children, and Dan certainly spent money. He had a stable full of pretty cute cars that would change rather regularly when you go over there.
Okay. The did the time that you were over at the Broderick house, did you become aware of some problems in the marriage between Dan and Betty sometime 1983, 1984?
Yes.
Okay. Was there a change that you can recall in the way that Betty talked about Dan after that?
Betty didn't talk that much about Dan to me. Dan was rarely there. I would come, there would be sometimes when I would have early...
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
I just wanted to ask you another question.
Okay. Was before 1983, did it occur to you that she was being very critical of Dan?
No.
Okay. Did you notice that change after 1983, 1984, where she became somewhat more critical of him?
She was... both of our husbands at that time were on the same similar career pattern, and he was absent from home, And she was as critical of him as I was of my husband, who I sometimes felt chose to be at the office when he should have been doing things with the children. And that's something that every marriage has to work out. She was not unduly critical, and I tried not to be also.
Did you become aware of at least some suspicion of an affair that she had?
I was not aware of it.
Okay. Were you ever aware of her trying to change herself or trying to improve herself?
No, I was not
Okay.
aware of that.
Did you happen to ever visit her in her La Jolla Shores home on Calle de Cielo?
Yes.
Okay. And when she first moved in the house, can you describe how it was furnished?
Very sparsely.
Okay. And when you mean sparsely, what are you talking about?
There wasn't very much furniture.
Okay. Did you become aware of a change in Mrs. Broderick's language or the use of profanity over the years?
I had heard of it.
Okay.
I was not personally aware of it.
Okay. Did you see her after the separation with Dan?
Yes.
Okay, and where would you see her?
When you say after the separation, are you talking about the period of time that, from the point that they separated there to the future? I mean,
Yes, to the
today?
future.
Yes, I saw them.
Okay. Did you see her around the children at all?
Yes, sometimes when I'd run into her in La Jolla, she'd have the children with her.
Were both your children still going to Francis Parker?
Yes. Oh, I would see Betty up at Francis Parker. That's where I was most frequently run into her.
Okay. And how often would you see her at Francis Parker after the separation?
Well, it became our habit that we saw one another whenever there was a special event at the school, whether it was an athletic event or a program or something special that the boys were in. It would be our custom that we would seek out each other, and rather than being seated in the audience, we would stand in the back and we would visit and watch whatever the boys were doing.
Did you see her at most of those?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see their father at those events?
Rarely.
Okay. At the time that you were at Francis Parker, was she using inappropriate language then?
She did not in front of me.
Okay. Did you ever become aware of any health problems that Rhett had?
Well, when the boys were still down at the lower school campus and I would be picking up Christian, Rhett was I believe a preschooler then at that time. He was a very thin and frail child and looked as though he just wasn't very well. He looked very, he wasn't like the other boys in that he was hardy and robust.
Did you see any physical changes in Elisabeth Broderick over the years after their separation?
Yes.
And what were those physical changes?
She gained weight.
I have no further questions.
Roxanne?
Good afternoon, Mr. You indicated that Elisabeth Broderick watched your son. That was through, she stopped watching children in 1979, is that correct?
I don't know when she stopped watching children. I know when Christian started the third grade, started in the 3-year-old preschool program. I'll have to forgive me to calculate that back. He's 15 today, so what year would that have been?
I'm sure you're better at that. I'm not good at that. But does it sound fair to you that, well, I believe she's testified that she stopped watching children.
We moved in 76, so 79, 80 would have been about right.
And you indicated that the question was sometime during this period of time to how you described her. You described her as being energetic and svelte. By svelte, you meant pretty, attractive, thin? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't have Webster's dictionary, but yes, that would
I'm not
meet
asking
my
for the
criteria,
Webster's
sure.
dictionary. I'm asking
Sure.
for what you meant by that.
Sure, she was very attractive.
And that was through 1985, correct?
Yes.
And you also indicated that, at least from your observations, by the early 1980s, the family in general appeared to be fairly affluent at that time, that they had a lot of spending money and that they were spending money.
Well, interestingly, Dan had the same risk that we had, which is it went from, I had a career change, and there's a certain amount of risk involved as to whether you're going to be financially successful. It's my understanding that when Dan did become successful, he became enormously successful.
Right. And you're indicating that once he became successful, obviously, the family was spending money. They had money to spend.
I think that's a fair characterization, yes.
Okay. And you indicated that after the separation, the primary contact that you had with Elisabeth Broderick was through your children running into her at Francis Parker, that sort of thing.
And various places in La Jolla.
Okay. Did you go out and socialize with her? Did the two of you together go out and see a movie in the evenings?
No.
Anything like that?
No.
Okay. And in none of those conversations where you would see her, where you ran into her at Francis Parker, for example, was she using any inappropriate language?
No.
Is what you're saying?
That's correct.
Okay, so she acted appropriately under those circumstances.
Yes.
And you never heard her at all use inappropriate language in front of the children, is that correct?
Not when I was present.
Okay, and when you would see her, when you would run into her with the children, it would usually be at places where there was a lot of people around, events, that sort of thing.
I think that's true. Yeah.
Now, you indicated that you felt that Rhett appeared to be sick or skinny. What year are you talking about?
Well, he would have had to have been in the preschool program.
So this was when he was a little guy.
Well, the earliest preschool program at Parker is 3 years old, so it has to be 3 years old or older.
Okay, so that was prior to
There is no
separation.
daycare there. There's preschool.
You're talking about prior to their separation, then, that was your observation.
Well, there were a number of years where I was still picking up Christian at the lower school while both Danny and Rhett were at the lower school. So you're asking me to say, was he 3, 4, 5, 6? I can't tell you, but it was in that period of time.
Okay, and if they didn't separate until he was 6 years old, then it
Right.
was-
As I said, I have not worked the numbers backwards to figure out how old he was
Okay.
when my son was in the 6th grade.
It is true, is it not, that even when you would see her at these events at Francis Parker or whatever, that she often talked about her problems in the divorce and her problems with Dan?
Yes.
Okay. And you have described her, in fact, as being obsessed about that.
Well, I'm not sure I used the word obsessed, but that's certainly been a word that has been used frequently.
You have indicated that without, I think you're correct, that you didn't use the word obsessed, but that you acknowledged that whenever you would see her, it appeared that all of her conversations were about Dan. It became very difficult to be around her because that's all she talked about.
Well, could you tell me what you're reading from?
From a report, an investigative report.
Done by you?
No, but by the defense investigator.
Well, she was fairly single topic at that time.
Okay. And I can show you to refresh your recollection. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Directing your attention to the investigative report, page 3, this paragraph. Okay.
You have to wait a minute.
Well, second to the last paragraph, if you just read that portion, just to say if that's a fair statement of what you're saying.
I said that, yeah.
So you'd indicated that the only conversations were about Dan, and you stated that it was such an extreme situation that it made it difficult to want to be with him.
Well, I would broaden it by saying that we did talk about other family things besides Dan, but Dan was certainly a focus of much of our conversation. But we did talk about the boys and the two older girls who were the same age as our older children. So we had conversations that encompassed more than just the one member of the family and Dan.
Was there ever an incident when she got angry at you for kissing up to Dan?
No.
Were you aware of why she would write in her diary anything about Ann Dick ignored me, kissed up to Dan?
No. I wouldn't do that.
And when was the last time that you saw Elisabeth Broderick before November the 5th?
The fall of that year.
Do you remember the day? Do you recall seeing her the Wednesday before?
It could have been.
And do you recall indicating that she appeared to be no different than any other time?
Any other time in the last year, 6 months, 6 years, in relation to what? I ran into her in Burns Drugstore in La Jolla. Kim was with her.
Right. And you indicated that you didn't notice anything unusual about her at that time.
No, they were doing the same thing that I had just done, which was buying Kim all the things that you need to take to college so you don't have to pay for them yourself.
I have no further questions.
The director. Please, please. Thank you very much, ma'am.
You do solemnly swear the testimony about to give in the matter of before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and all be God. Could you have a senior witness stand, please?
Afternoon, ma'am.
Could you state your full name for the record, please, and spell your last name?
Wilma J. Engel, E-N-G-E-L.
Thank you.
Do you know the lady at the end of the council table here, Betty Broderick?
Yes, I do.
And do you remember when you met her?
We moved into our tract homes in within a month of each other, and I moved in May of '76, and the Brodericks moved into the house we had looked at, but decided it was too big. I believe they moved in shortly after. I met her when our boys were 3 months old, and I'm referring to Danny and Jeremy.
Okay, so that would have been, you lived on Coral Reef.
Yes.
And so in 1976, that you, both your families within a short time moved in at the same time?
Yes.
Okay. Your son Jeremy, did he and Danny become friends?
Yes.
Okay. How well would you say that you got to know Elisabeth Broderick in that time?
Very well. It was all new to us. My husband is from New York. Dan, they were lawyers. We were young. We had young children. It was a time in our lives that was different. We were establishing roots, families, ties. We had no history. So we did a lot of things together with the children. And then shortly thereafter, I went back to graduate school, and Betty would insist on taking Jeremy with her everywhere that she went, and I then insisted that she take money, which she reluctantly did, and started a play group. But at the time, I was getting a master's in counseling and working with women, and I felt you should be paid for what.
Sustains.
Okay.
Questions?
And would you say that you got to know her as close as people that are close in
Yes.
proximity and neighbors?
Yes, almost daily contact on the phone. We'd have lunch. Our boys played together both at my house and her house, on the street, in the parks. Betty would take them to the zoo, to SeaWorld. Her house was always full of children.
Did she participate in school activities?
Yes.
And how would you describe her relationship with children at that time?
Objection, Your Honor.
Oh, Rule didn't answer that.
She had been a teacher, and that's all she knew, and that's all she ever wanted to be, was a mother and a teacher. So she interacted beautifully with children and enjoyed them. And I don't remember her not in sweats and in cookie dough and paintings. And I was amazed at how much she could do in a day. Her interaction with children is excellent.
Now, sometime, would you, during that time, would you spend time at their home?
Yes.
Okay. And was there a change in the atmosphere of the household any time in the day?
Objection, Your Honor. Betty goes to Tom.
I'll just put in a time frame, Mr. Early.
Yes, in the time that they were living in Coral, and when you were living in Coral Reef between the years of 80 and 84, would there be a change in the atmosphere at the home during the day?
I would see Betty in the mornings and in the afternoons when her attitude would change in that she said, oh my God, I have to hurry up and clean up. Dan will be home and I have to get everything ready, the children quiet, dinner ready, and he doesn't like the mess. So she became, I would say, agitated, or would change behaviors from being the relaxed and happy to what I sensed was being frightened or having to hurry up and change out of her play clothes, let's say, into fixing dinner and getting everybody ready so that she would have the house all put together when Dan came home. So yes, there was a change, I would say, in the afternoons during all those years of keeping things separate and in order.
Was she different around Dan than she was otherwise?
Yes, I feel she was. I feel she was intimidated. She was quiet. She had a proper behavior. There was a role that I feel she was expected to play as Mrs. Dan Broderick and as Dan's wife. And she did what was expected of her. Her role was...
Your Honor, I'm going to object.
Sustained.
Okay, and what is your occupation?
I'm...
Your Honor, excuse me, if we could approach the this man.
All right. Do you work in the
Just a
area?
second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you work in the area of finance?
Yes, I do.
And what is your occupation in the financial area?
I'm a consultant to pension funds and high net worth individuals. I assist in writing goals and helping people find investment advisors. So I work with people with substantial net worth investments.
Do you consider Betty a sophisticated person in the area of finances?
No, I do not.
Okay. Would you sometimes talk about their family finances?
Yes,
Okay. Did she appear to be someone who was up to what was going on with her financially or not?
no. If anything, I felt Betty was naive and very unaware of what her husband's investments were, where the money was, or what anything, what was in her name, what wasn't, what investment portfolios. As his income started to pick up, she was left in the dark even more and more. So no, I do not consider her knowledgeable about finances.
At some point in time, did you become aware that Elisabeth Broderick was making attempts to try to improve herself?
Yes,
Okay. Were you aware of anything about an affair at all?
yes, I
Just-
was.
okay.
Yes.
And what kind of things was Betty doing to try to improve herself?
She changed her hair, she dieted, she wanted to, her whole life it revolved around
Objection,
children.
Your Honor, non-responsive.
Sustained.
Were you aware of a time when Elisabeth Broderick and Dan Broderick separated?
Yes.
Okay. And did you see her after that period of time?
Yes, I did. I continued to see Betty. Our boys were still friendly. We were still neighbors. I was aware of everything that was going on in daily contacts and through the boys.
Okay. Did you see some changes in her emotional state from 1985 to 1989?
Yes, I did.
And how would you describe that?
Betty became, I would say, distraught, more helpless. She became very frustrated. She sensed there was something going on with Dan. He used to come home late, and he was never home.
Let's go. I'm going from 1985, after their separation, till 1989.
After the separation?
Yes.
Betty tried to get Dan back in any way that she could. She had conveyed to me that he was having a classic midlife crisis and that she'd hoped he would come to his senses and return to her and the family, and that she was trying to do everything that she could to get him back, and that's my interpretation of what was going on in terms of betrayal or scorn.
Excuse me, that's not non-responsive.
Sorry.
Sustained.
Okay. Did you see a change in Miss Broderick's language over the years?
Well, Betty and I are from New York, and we tend to express ourselves. We're both very direct and don't beat around the bush. So, no, Betty and I were always open and honest in the language, whether it was not appropriate. We would swear. So, no, I did not detect any language differences.
She never moved back on the Coral Reef home, is that
No.
correct? I have no further questions.
Cross-examine.
Are you indicating, Ms. Engel, that she did the same amount of swearing after the separation as she did before the separation?
Well, it wasn't a lot that in my presence that I was aware of to begin with. There was no-
Was she calling Mr. Broderick, to your knowledge, bad words before the separation? Did you ever hear her call him a fag or call him an asshole or words like that before separation?
She would refer to him as a cliche, and she did refer to him as boring, that all he did was work. And, but the words, no, there was nothing out of the ordinary that I recall her calling him names.
When you say she referred to him as a cliche, you're saying she used those words, that he is a cliche?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And there was no difference in the way she referred to him after the separation?
If anything, her anger intensified about what was going on in his life.
Yeah, difference in her language, that's what I'm asking. You're saying that there was no difference in how she
I'm
referred
saying
to him.
that, to me, Betty was the same Betty has always been since I met her in '76. To me, and in my presence and my relationship with Betty, is that there was a consistency in terms of who she was and how she was. She did get angrier and more frustrated, and I listened, and yes, she was significantly more upset after it became known that he was having an affair. Yes, she was different than afterwards.
Okay. And even after the separation?
Yes.
For the period after 1985, and for the period of 1986 and 1987
Yes.
and 1988, she became obsessed about Dan and Linda.
I tried to help her in getting her counsel because my husband is an attorney. He tried to find her counsel. We tried to help. I suggested therapy. I did everything that I possibly could to help her get on with her life, to either go out and singles or to get on with what was best.
Sounds like that you were a good friend and you were there and you were supportive and she could talk to you and you made recommendations to her, all of those things, correct?
Yes.
And she refused to follow any of those recommendations?
No.
She would not?
No, I would not say that she refused.
She would not to go into therapy. She refused to do that, right?
I believe she did try and got very frustrated with the process.
Do you recall saying to an investigator that you tried to get her to go to some kind of therapy but that she refused?
Betty had tried.
Yeah, if you could just answer that question.
I didn't say that she refused. I may have suggested a particular therapist to her, but she had already been and had tried whatever family counseling or whatever she could to get her family back together.
Right, but now we're talking about after the
After.
separation. After the separation, didn't you suggest, in order to let go of the relationship, that she seek counseling and that she refused to do so at that point?
I did suggest it. I do not believe that she refused to do so.
Okay. If I could just show you this report on page 2. If you could read the sentence here to see if that refreshes your recollection.
That's right, she began.
Whose report are you showing her, just for the record?
Yes, Your Honor, a defense investigative report. Excuse me. Didn't mean to grab it. It's not signed, Your Honor. It's a defense investigative report.
Is it dated?
It's unsigned and undated. I think that was
Sorry
deleted
about
by
it.
the defense when it was turned over to
All right.
for discovery.
Whatever, okay.
Anyway.
Well, not knowing the time or date, and I do remember saying this, that Betty at that time refused to go to therapy. I believe she felt it was useless.
And you talked to her about the things that she was doing
Yes.
that were destructive
Yes.
to the relationship with the children and moving on and tried to get her to stop
I
doing
thought
this.
therapy was useless because she didn't want to get over Dan. She didn't want to go on with her life, and she knew that's what a therapist would want her to do. She wanted to keep agonizing over this whole thing and milking it.
Yes, but I had never been betrayed, so I did not know the emotions that she was dealing with. You can be empathic or have understanding and be a friend to a point, but I could not get into her shoes and know the frustrations that she was going to.
Was there a point that you backed off in your friendship with her?
Mainly because of my own personal life, yes, and because I felt that I couldn't help. You can only do what you can do, and I wasn't able to take the energy. I needed the energy for myself and for my family and what was going on in my life.
Now, are you indicating that you never heard her express any hostility towards Dan Broderick prior to the separation?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that she was, but whether it was just like you don't take someone seriously, you say something in humor. Yes, there was anger. Yes, she was frustrated. Yes, he was never home.
Did she make jokes about him, when you say
Yes.
the humor, did she make jokes about him at his expense in front of other people?
Yes,
Okay.
but I would do the same thing about my husband, or you just do it as a release of normal living.
Okay, and you didn't think that there was anything out of the ordinary about the way that she did that?
No, I think if I had, I would have said something or done something. I felt that.
How many times, if you could just give me an estimate, how many times were you together with her and Dan Broderick?
Rarely.
Okay.
And a few times through birthday parties with the children or the boys over the years. Dan intimidated me, and I am not easily intimidated. We did not move in the same circle socially. And
Okay, thank you. You've answered my question. I have no other questions.
Redirect. Witness be excused. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did have another question. I'm
All
sorry.
right, go ahead.
When you say that she was not sophisticated in matters of finance, were you aware, was she a member of the investment club at the time that you're talking about?
Betty was in an investment club and was making investments with a group of women. But it was just like play. It was her, as the children got older, she didn't have a play group. To me, in my opinion, it was just play.
You never had any feeling about whether she had a knack for investments or whether she was...
Betty did, in my opinion, Betty did not have a knack for investments.
Did you have any feeling about whether she was well-read in the investments?
Betty was well-read because we used to share books and novels and exchange, but as far as investments, no, I do not think that.
Were you aware of her attempts to get a job as a stockbroker after separation?
Betty tried many things as part of her getting her life together, whether it was an art gallery.
Excuse me,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I am not. She investigated all different careers.
Did she ever talk to you about her interest in becoming a stockbroker? And
Yes.
looking to get a job as a stockbroker?
Yes, there were several.
And were you aware that she expressed herself that she felt that she was very good at that?
Yes, I'm aware that she felt she was good at it. There's a lot of people who do it who think they're good at it, but they're not. It's an art. It's not an art. It's an art. It's not a science, even though they would like to tell you it is.
I have no further questions now.
Mr. Early? All right. Thank you again, ma'am.
And could you please state your full name for the record and spell your last name?
My name is Marianne Renee Kunkel. Kunkel, Kunkle.
Thank you.
Ma'am, what is your occupation?
Educator,
Okay. And as, how long have you been an educator?
31 years.
Okay, and do you work in classrooms?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And do you know the lady at the end of the console table here, Betty Broderick?
Yes, I do.
And where do you work?
Francis Parker,
And how long have you worked there?
18 years.
Do you remember approximately when you first met Betty Broderick?
When I had Kathy,
I wasn't going to say anything. I was waiting for Wiggles. Somebody needs to educate her on what a headband is for. She doesn't need it. Her hair's short.
Okay. And do you remember approximately how long ago was that?
I don't know how old Kathy is now. What is she, 21?
She would be about that. What grade would have she been in?
5th grade, and she would have been 10. So that was...
About 11 years ago. Okay. And how often did you, during the time that you saw Elisabeth Broderick, how often would you see her there at the school?
Frequently. I don't know if you want numbers, but frequently.
Okay. And this was from when their children first went there, up to what time?
Until her last one was there until Red.
Okay. And how would you describe her when you first met her at that time?
Happy, terrific sense of humor, always concerned about her children, willing to do most anything for any of the teachers or any of the children in the classrooms in which her children happened to be.
Okay. Was she someone who wore expensive jewelry, fancy clothes?
This was not apparent to me. No.
Okay. How would other children relate to her during these school activities where she volunteered?
Happily, they enjoyed being around her. She was a lot of fun, provided many interesting, fun things for the children to do.
Did you have Danny Broderick in your class?
Yes.
And was he a good student?
B+.
Okay. And when you had him as a student in your class, was this after you became aware that the Brodericks separated, is that correct?
Yes.
And was he in your class after the separation?
Yes.
And do you know who Danny was living with on a full-time basis?
The father.
Okay, and was Mr. Broderick involved in the school activities at that time?
Not at all.
Okay. Did you ever try to contact either parent with any problems that you were having at the school?
Yes.
And did you have any, did you try to get a hold of Mr. Broderick?
Yes.
And were you able to contact him?
Infrequently,
Okay.
no.
Did you, if you could not get a hold of him, what did you do?
Call the mother,
Okay, and that's Betty Broderick?
yes,
Did you have any problems on getting her to respond at all?
not at all, ever.
Okay.
What does this have to do with her killing her husband? Nothing. I think I would sound like that kind of thing.
If I may have just one moment, Your Honor.
Certainly.
Did she just wink at Betty?
Was there a difference in Danny's demeanor when his mother was to pick him up rather than his father?
Yes,
And what was that?
he was happy, looking forward to it.
Okay, and how would he be if she wasn't going to pick him up?
Agitated.
I have no further questions.
Cross-examine?
When you say Danny was a B-plus student, what the question was he a good student? And your answer was he was a B-plus student. Is that a good student?
Yes,
Okay. So he was a good student when he was
Yes.
in your class. And he got A's and B pluses, and he did his work well, and he had a good attitude. And it was basically,
the grades he earned were, the overall average would be a B plus, but he could have been an A student.
okay. Doesn't his report card say that Danny has made wonderful improvement in his attitude and work? He's a wonderful student?
After there had been some contact with Mom.
Okay. That you indicated that you had trouble, if you were attempting to get in touch with either parent, that would be during the day, correct?
Sometimes I frequently spent a lot of time in the evening trying to contact parents.
Okay, did you try to contact Mr. Broderick in the evening at all, or was it during the day?
Both,
Okay. You knew that Mr. Broderick was an attorney, correct?
indeed.
And so obviously, as an attorney working in court, I mean, if my two sons, if their teachers are trying to contact me, they wouldn't be able to do it all day today, correct?
But messages were left.
Okay, and are you saying that he did not return your messages?
Sometimes, not always.
Were you, well, was there ever a request on your part to have a specific conference regarding problems with Danny,
With whom?
with either parent?
There was not usually a request made because, with the mom, because she was always available, it was free communication when there ever was a need for me to talk about a situation.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Your Director. Witness be excused? Yes, sir. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Matt, could you please state your full name for the record and spell your last name?
Candace McCarty, M-C-C-A-R-T-Y.
McCarty, what do you do for a living?
I teach severely handicapped junior high students at Gompers Middle School.
Did you, at some point in time, come to know Betty Broderick?
Yes, I did. 1980, some neighbors of Betty introduced me to her. They were parents of my daughter's friends.
Okay. And did you eventually become friends with her?
Yes, she was very friendly to me. I'd moved.
Objection, Your Honor. It's not responsible.
You answered the question. Just wait to ask you
Yes.
another question.
Yes, we became friends.
Do you remember what year that was?
Yes, sir. 1980.
Okay. Were you aware at I have just one more?
Certainly.
Did you, at some point in time, become aware that Elisabeth Broderick got involved in any type of Bible study group or anything?
Yes, sir. 1983, I was a group leader at my church in a Bible study. And Betty came into the Bible study, and I spotted her, and I told the group leader, Peggy Irie, that I'd like Betty to be in my group because I knew Betty, and we had daughters the same age, and I was very fond of Betty, and she was put into my group. Yes.
Okay. How would you describe her spiritual beliefs?
I beg your pardon?
Her spiritual beliefs, sir.
Sustained.
Oh, do I answer that?
No, don't answer.
Oh.
You don't have to answer that.
Did she stay at all involved in the church for some period of time?
Yes. Our Bible study was 2.5 hours long, so it was quite a commitment. She stayed involved. She went to women's retreat. She went to Christmas. The deacon in our church said she had seen Betty in the back of the church on Christmas Eve.
Excuse me, this is not responsible.
Sustained.
So yes, she was involved.
Were you aware at some point that she became separated from her husband?
I was aware through friends because when she became separated from her husband, I was not involved with the Bible study at that time, and I was studying the teacher's test, and I was studying all the time, so I wasn't very social at that time.
Okay. And prior to the November 5th, 1989, when was the last time you saw Elisabeth Broderick?
No, wait, let me get my calendar straight. Prior to...
This would have been the time she was arrested or she turned herself
Before
in.
I had seen her, before her arrest?
Yes.
Oh, I had been at Betty Broderick's home a month before she was arrested.
Did she look like she had changed when you saw her?
Betty changed colossally, enormously. Betty had, it's so hard for me to say this because I don't want to hurt Betty's feelings, but
Colossively. She changed colossively. Early must not prep his witnesses very well because they just go on and on and on. Just answer the question, people. Colossively.
Betty had gained an enormous amount of weight. She was puffy. She, her body had turned into an old woman's, and her personality was one of despair and sadness. Contrasting to the Betty Broderick I knew in Bible study, where she was thin, like we're the same age, we were about the same weight. Maybe Betty was thinner than I, and she was.
Your Honor, excuse me.
She was young.
Just wait till I ask
She was
another question.
different. In contrast.
Okay. Did you see her at her home at that time?
Yes, we had breakfast in the morning, and she invited me to her home. And in La Jolla, I knew about the home in Pacific Beach.
Your Honor, excuse me.
Oh, yes, I'd seen her in her home.
Being very non-responsive.
All right.
I'm sorry, I'd seen her in her home that day.
Okay. And did she talk to you, was there any discussion about custody of her sons?
Betty told me that she was moving because she was not going to get custody of her sons, at least until they were on Social Security. And her exact words were, "Dan will never let me have my boys. I don't need this big house." And we went around the house, and she showed me what furniture she was going to take with her to a small condominium over by La Jolla Village Square or something like that. And we,
What did she tell you about the furniture?
Well, Betty and I have the same dark pine early American furniture, and so I related to it because both of our furniture is scarred up by kids. And she was taking the boy's chest. There was a dining room table with teeth marks in it that I think Rhett had bitten into, and she was trying to figure out how she could get this table into the small condominium because
Your Honor, excuse me.
she wanted that.
Sustained.
And
Hold it. The board asked another question.
Oh, sorry.
The furniture that she was upset about, did that involve furniture that had to do with their family history?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, that calls for a yes or no.
Yes, sir. Well, in contrast, she had new
Don't say any more
furniture.
until I ask you another question.
Oh.
You've answered the question he asked.
Yes, sir.
I have no further questions.
Across to them.
When was the last time that you saw Elisabeth Broderick before November the 5th?
The last time was in her home in the morning.
When was it? How far before that?
It was September.
So in September, she was telling you that she didn't feel there was any chance that she was going to get the children until after she was on Social Security?
No, after the children were on Social Security.
Okay, and that was in September that she made that
Well,
statement to you?
my calendar date is, I think I started teaching school. It must have been in September, and I think the incident happened in October, so I'm about a month, that block of time.
Okay. And
School starts late September, so it might have been the 1st of October.
so, do you remember when this was?
Ma'am, I can't spot, within, I imagine, a month of her arrest.
So approximately 1 month prior to that?
Approximately.
You're indicating that she made this statement to you?
Yes, ma'am. She was moving because she didn't need the big house, because she was never going to get the boys. Dan would never let her have the kids, and she was moving.
Okay. And she didn't tell you anything about what was going on at that point in court or what her attorney was doing at that point?
No, ma'am.
And the Bible study group that you indicated, that was with the Presbyterian Church?
La Jolla Presbyterian Church.
That was not the Catholic Church?
No.
Thank you. You've answered.
No, it wasn't the Catholic Church. It was
I
Presbyterian
have no
Church.
further questions.
Redirect.
You knew what her religious beliefs were, didn't you?
I had gone to a Catholic high school, and so Betty.
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
Just yes.
Yes, I felt like I knew her religious beliefs. She was a Christian.
Did you know that she had been a Catholic before that?
I knew she had 4 kids. She must have been a Catholic. All my friends that I grew up with that were Catholics had big families.
I have no further.
Anything for us?
I'm not going to touch that one.
Good idea. Witness be excused. Thank you very much, ma'am. One more witness, Mr. Broderick.
Yes.
About how long would you say? 10 minutes?
10 minutes, Your Honor.
Anybody in the jury that can't stay another 10 minutes, just show your hands. All right, go ahead.
There was an objection. She would like go, yes, yes, yes. Like she was gonna get the answer in real quick. Someone needed to explain to her what was happening. I hate it when lawyers don't trust their witnesses. You have to explain objections to them. They don't know. Unless they're law enforcement.
Call your next witness.
Yes, Your Honor. Benjamin Burt.
What?
You do solemnly swear the testimony about to give and the matter not pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Very small court. But she was sitting. I don't know, Judy. That's what I would do if I was called to
Afternoon, ma'am.
testify.
Good afternoon. Would you please state your full name for the
She
record?
was sitting there watching.
My name is
They don't have
Evangeline
a
Burt, and
That puts
B-U-R-T.
Thank you. That word I can't say.
Good afternoon. Do you know the lady here at the end of council table, Betty
Yes.
Broderick?
I do.
Okay. And how did you meet?
I met Betty and Dan when Dan was hired at my husband's law firm. So I met her soon after they moved to San Diego.
Okay, your husband was a partner in the firm that he went to work for?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see Dan and Betty at legal and social functions over the years?
I did.
Okay. And did you have any children about the ages of their children?
I do.
Okay. And did your children spend time at the Broderick residence?
Yes. I have one daughter. They're the age of her daughters.
Okay. Did your children also attend Francis Parker School?
I've got to put that singular. It's my one child
Okay.
that did go to
Did you-
Francis Parker.
Okay. And did you attended any parties at the Broderick home?
Yes, sir, we have.
Okay. Were they social parties, family parties?
Family parties, social parties.
Okay. Were the children were there also? Parties where the children?
Yes, this particular one I'm remembering quite well was with children.
Okay. Did the time that you knew Elisabeth Broderick, did she appear to be a socialite to you?
Not in my estimation.
In 1978, was she involved? Is there a ball that's given every year that involves the legal community?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And in 1978, was Betty Broderick involved in that ball?
Yes, she was.
And what was her function?
Betty was the decoration chairman that year.
Okay. And was she usually willing to volunteer her time for social charity events?
She did all the time.
Okay. And did you notice the remnants of any injury on the night of the Blackstone Ball?
The afternoon of the Blackstone Ball is when I thought I noticed something that looked like a black eye to me.
Okay. Did you ask her what happened?
I did not.
And was there any reason?
I just didn't think it was appropriate because she and Dan were there together, and it just looked like it was something that might have happened between the two of them just prior to coming into the ballroom where she was going to help me finalize the decorations.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Cross-examine.
Are you indicating, Ms. Burt, that that was just your assumption, that that had to have been something that happened between the two of them?
It was obvious to me that Betty was upset.
Okay. And did she ever say anything to you about what the cause of that black eye is? Is that what you're saying, that you saw a black eye?
I thought it looked like a black eye. It looked, and she had been crying. It looked like her eyes were red, and one eye was darkened.
Okay. This was in 1978.
Right.
So we're talking 7 years before they separated. Is that, if they separated?
It was in 78.
Okay. And they showed up in the afternoon of a Blackstone Ball, and you're indicating that she appeared to be crying.
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you ask her what's wrong? Anything like that?
As I say, I did not. I didn't.
And was there ever a time after that when you asked her what was wrong or what was the cause?
I never had the courage to ask her.
Okay. And she never described for you or told you the answer to that?
No, it was not brought up.
Okay. Now, you indicated that she was involved in some charity events working with you. That continued up through 1989, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And, for example, you had asked her to do some photographs for you for the New Miss California program.
Yes.
And you'd had conversations with her at that time.
Yes.
And you indicated that at that time, she was still obviously filled with hate for Dan and said something to you to the effect of, "I'll get his ass yet," correct?
Now, the question is,
Did she say to you then, "I'll get his ass yet"? She was very angry at Dan and made the statement, "I'll get his ass yet"?
she might have said that.
let me just show you a report, page 3 of 3, a defense report. Again, these reports that were provided to me, Your Honor, do not have dates on them.
Okay.
You could read the sentence starting here, see if that refreshes your recollection. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And so it is true that she indicated she was still filled with hate for Dan, and she said, "I'll get his ass yet."
I don't remember saying it that particular day. Are you talking about that one day?
I'm just asking if you've indicated that that's what she said. Yes, on the day that you had some conversations with her about the new Miss California. If you want to read the full paragraph to see if that refreshes your recollection.
Yes.
And you've indicated, just as far as her personality, that you described her as always being a bit off the wall. You never knew what she would say or do. Sometimes she could seem bizarre.
Yes. Mhm.
And in all of your contacts with her post-separation, you've described that it was clear that she was filled with hate over the situation.
Did I use that word?
Yeah, again,
Oh, gee. I knew it was a lot of bitterness.
directing you to page 2, the last sentence.
Then I must have said that.
And the last time that you saw her before the events of November the 5th was on Halloween, correct? The
Yes,
summer
it
of that
was.
Halloween. And you described her on that day as being very up, that she looked great, she had a nice outfit on, she was showing you her latest toy.
Yes, that's correct.
She often had the newest things, the newest cameras, video cameras, cellular phones, those sorts of things. That's what you mean by...
Well, the thing that I saw was the camera. I don't know about the phones and things like that, but
Okay, well, when you're talking about always having the latest toy, what were you referring to? Is that what that's the type of thing you were referring to?
boy, this takes me back a way. Yes, I guess that's what I meant. She had an instant cam, as I recall it, which was right off the production line.
I have nothing further.
Read right. The time that, when you asked her to do the Miss California, did you know whether she had any hobbies with cameras?
Yes, because she had taken pictures for me for other occasions as well.
I have no.
Anything else, Ms. Wells?
No, Your Honor.
Witness be excused.
No objection.
No objection.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Before we take our afternoon recess, ladies and gentlemen, let me update you on the schedule that we're on. We still are on schedule. The defense should finish their case at around noon tomorrow. Would it be agreeable if we went a few minutes into the lunch hour in case we're in the middle of a witness and can't quit? All right. Seeing no hands raised in opposition to that. So what I'd like to do is get the bulk of their case in tomorrow if possible. They have one last witness that has a scheduling problem that we will take later. The attorneys have other matters set on Friday, so we won't be in session on this case on Friday. On Monday, there are some matters I have to take up with the lawyers outside your presence, and rather than risk having happen what happened yesterday, where you're only here for an hour's worth of testimony, I would rather give you off, once we finish tomorrow morning, give you off until Tuesday. Now, the lawyers and I have talked about this. We still they still, and I agree with them, we still believe we will have all the evidence in before the Thanksgiving weekend. You will be off the Thursday, Friday, and of course Saturday and Sunday for the Thanksgiving weekend. When you return the following Monday, I anticipate we will have the argument of counsel and then the instructions. So we are still ahead of schedule, but I think for your planning purposes, it's important that I let you know what's going on and what I expect. So with that in mind, we'll take our recess now until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Please remember the admonition. Have a nice evening.
Oh, good. What is that? It looks like somebody painted her blue and somebody blew confetti on her. To laugh at the fashion choices.
Record and spell your last name?
Yes, my name is Beverly Morris, Morri.
Come on, StreamYard, catch up.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Morris, what is your occupation?
I'm a school teacher. I've been with San Diego Unified School District since 1975. I teach second grade at Sequoia.
No, at the council table, Betty Broderick.
Yes, I do. Yes, there were a group in 1985 who wanted to be on a soccer team. And at that time, they were shortages. And although Mrs. Broderick didn't have any special skills in soccer, she did step forward to give her time and energy and effort to coaching soccer. And that's how I met her, because my son was a member of her team.
Okay. And do you remember what year this was?
In 1985.
Okay. And in showing you what has been marked as defense KK for identification, do you recognize this photograph?
Yes.
Okay. And was this the team? Was any of Mrs. Broderick's children on the team?
Yes, her son Rhett was on the team, our youngest.
Did you know whether Rhett was living with her at the time?
No, he wasn't. He was residing with his father at that time.
Okay. And were there times when Rhett did not attend the soccer activities?
Yes, many, many times.
Okay. And how would Mrs. Broderick respond to this?
Well, what happened was there were a series...
Sustain.
Pardon me? I didn't hear you.
Just rephrase the question, or re-ask the question, Mr. Earl.
All right.
Okay. What were the schedules for the team? I mean, when would the team play games? When would they practice?
We practiced on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we had our games on Saturdays.
Yeah. And how did Betty respond to when her son would not be at the practices?
She would respond with a tremendous amount of frustration, humiliation. She was
very apologetic to the other players and to us, the parents, because she would go and try to pick up.
Objection, Your Honor, that calls for hearsay.
Sustained.
Yeah. Did Rhett attend all the games?
No, he didn't. He attended about half of them, 50% of them.
Yeah. Would there be times when she would be late for practices and games when Rhett was not able to attend?
Yes. Because the reason why.
Objection, Your Honor.
You answered the question, Mary.
Yes, she was late.
Did you ever see Mr. Broderick in any of the practices or the games?
Never.
Okay. Did Mrs. Broderick, when her son wasn't able to be there, did she still attend the activities and do the coaching?
Yes, she did. She always attended the practices and the games, even though she was unable to pick up her son.
Okay. And was she teaching at the time the children were there, was she teaching them the concepts and the values of the soccer?
Marty, have you ever seen the movie Stepford Wives? They were all trying to be Stepford Wives. If you guys haven't seen that movie, go watch it. Not the remake, though. Don't watch the remake. The remake is awful. Watch the original one. That's the good one. That's the scary one. The remake sucks because they try to fix it at the end and make it all happy. I can't even tell you about it without ruining it. But the remake has Bette Midler, Nicole Kidman, and Matthew Broderick. And it's horrible because it's a suspense thriller. And the remake, they try to fix the ending. They try to make everything all happy and hunky-dory at the end. Yeah, and Glenn Close. The original, I don't even remember who was in the original. Because it was before my time. I think, is it 60s or 70s? Judy, have you seen it? It's 60s or 70s. But watch the original. It is very, very good and terribly frightening. Especially in the days we live in now. It's a very good movie. But, yeah, this reminds me of the Stepford Wives. They all want to look the same, act the same, go to the same clubs. Yeah.
Really?
Yes, she was. She was an excellent coach.
Okay.
Who taught a great deal more than just the game. She was very good at sportsmanship and positive reinforcement.
Did you ever hear her use profanity around the children?
Never.
Was her behavior inappropriate?
Never.
And what did you see of the relationship with her son at that time?
Oh, Rhett adored his mother. He loved her very much. He was very proud of her, of course, because she was the soccer coach, and he had a very close bond with his mother, and it was great.
I have no further questions.
Cross-examine.
Mrs. Morris, just to clarify, this was back in soccer season back in 1985, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So as far as you knew, this was shortly after the separation between the defendant and her ex-husband.
Apparently, yes. I don't know.
And you were not aware of the situation, were you aware of any of the details of how the living situation came to be, how the children came to be living with their father?
No.
What the situation was with them at that particular time?
I knew that she was going through a divorce,
Okay.
but That was all.
Okay. I don't have any questions.
Broderick,
No, Your Honor.
witness stay excused.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
All right, call Beverly Dillard to the stand.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the matter not pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Ma'am, could you please have a single witness stand?
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Morning, fine, thank you.
And ma'am, could you please state your full name for the record and spell your last name?
My name is Beverly Jean Dewart, D-E-W-A-R-T.
Thank you.
Stuart, what is your occupation?
At the present time, I'm the purchasing agent for Francis Parker School.
Okay. And did you have any other position with Francis Parker in the past?
Yes, I've been an employee since 1970, and
Thanks, Michelle.
up until 3 years ago, I was employed at the Randolph Street campus in the main office, and I worked with the director of admissions.
Okay. And are you familiar with Danny and Broderick?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And are you familiar with the lady down here, Danny, Betty Broderick?
Yes, sir.
How would,
75, okay.
from when you saw Mrs. Broderick at the school, how would you describe her?
I first met the Brodericks in 1981 when they enrolled the two older girls. At that time, very striking, family, close, beautiful, well-mannered, well-addressed, clean, gracious.
Okay. Was she someone, when you saw her at the time they started there, someone who was wearing expensive clothes and jewelry all the time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you see any changes in Mrs. Broderick over the years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how did she change?
She would show up at school not dressed as nicely as she had previously. She had gained weight, quote, let herself go, no self-assurance, frustrated, anxious,
Now,
not always patient.
Was she involved in the children's school activities?
Very much so, almost on a daily basis.
Okay. And was that something that continued up until 1989?
I left the lower school campus in the year of '88 to go to the upper school, so I really didn't see much of her then, except when she came up to the upper school campus to pick up Danny at that time.
Was she involved in the school activities
Yes,
that parents get involved in?
yes, sir, very
And
much so.
how would you describe that? Was she minimally involved?
No, she was very active, very, very active. Always somebody's room mother or the member of the Mothers Club at that particular time. And always went on the field trips as a chaperone. And always wanted to be able to go even when they had to let other parents have a turn. But she was very anxious to spend time with her children.
Okay. Did you become aware at some point that the parents had separated and the children were living with their father?
Yes, sir, we were notified in the office.
Okay. Did you notice a difference in Rhett's health after he was living with Mr. Broderick?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what kind of problems was he having?
Well, when he'd come in off the bus, he usually came to me because he always needed to have his nose blown. And at that time, we noticed that he would come to school wearing the same clothes 2 days in a row. And in cleaning his nose, you could tell that he was not bathed on a regular basis. The dirt behind his ears was caked. His head needed shampooing. But he was always eager to come in the morning. It was like a routine.
Okay. Were there problems during the winter on cold and rainy days, the way that they were dressed to go to school after there was a separation of family?
On occasion, they would come to school without jackets, but we generally would have something in the lost and found. But a lot of times they would come without jackets, he and Danny.
Was there, what's the usual procedure that you would do when a child is sent to the school sick?
Sometimes they would come to school sick, we call the family right away. And normally, after the separation, and we were informed that we were to notify Dan or his office when something would happen. We had to call him first. If we were unable to make contact, then we called Betty.
Okay. Was there any time that the children would have to stay in the office for some period of time because you couldn't reach Dan?
Yes.
Did you ever have any problems getting Betty Broderick to come?
No.
Okay. Did the children act different when their mother was going to pick them up rather than their father?
Only if they wanted to do something that they had been asked to at the last minute by a classmate. And then they'd ask her if they could go do this, and she didn't always want them to do it, but she usually let them go.
The problems that you saw as far as clothes and health and hygiene, was that problem ever apparent before the separation?
No, sir.
I have no further questions.
Cross down.
Good morning, Ms. Stewart. The contact that you're referring to was in 1986 and 1987 when Brett was in second and third grade, correct?
That's correct.
It's after that point that you moved on to
Yes,
the other
that's
campus?
correct. But I did know him up from the time he was 3 years old.
Oh, right, you knew him up to that point, but that was the end?
Yes.
Okay. And when you're talking about the problems with his clothes, a runny nose, that was during the second grade, correct? Okay. And he had allergies at the time. Were you aware at all of whether that problem got better after it was determined? Were you aware at all of any conferences that his teacher had with Mr. Broderick problem and whether there was...
Yes, there were conferences that I did know that, but
Were
what
you-
transpired I didn't know.
Okay. Were you aware of conferences with the principal or headmaster, David Glassy, and Mr. Broderick?
Yes, I knew that there were conferences.
Okay, so that they were in touch with Mr. Broderick and talking to him about it, and you then at that point left, so you don't know whether there was improvement in the problem, is that correct?
That's correct.
And it's not unusual for children to stay in the office for some period of time while you attempt to get in touch with either one of their parents. Is
That's
that
correct.
I have no further questions.
Redirect. So the lawyer has more questions.
One moment.
Sure.
I have no further questions.
Witness to be excused.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Call Marilyn off. Marilyn. May I have a moment with her?
Certainly. You can step out in the hall if you want, Mr. Early.
What?
You can step out in the hall if you want.
Okay, if I can, Your Honor.
You do solemnly swear the testimony about to give in the matter of heading for this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Morning.
Morning. Matt, could you please state your full name for the record and spell your last name?
Spell my last name.
State your full name and spell your last name.
Marilyn Olson, Olson.
Thank you.
Ms. Olson, do you know the lady at the end of the console table here, Betty Broderick?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And how did you happen to meet her?
I met Betty about 16 years ago when my son was in childcare with her. She was recommended by Lainey Carter, the professional grandmother at Scripps Memorial Hospital, who recommended her to do childcare. So I took him there.
Did you, you did have her do childcare for your children?
Yes, not every day, but maybe once or twice a week.
Okay, and how long did that go on?
Oh, probably 2 years or more.
And how many children was that?
Just one at the time.
Okay. And how would you describe Mrs. Broderick at that time?
Well, she certainly had a very child-centered home and had a great situation for taking care of children, and seemed to have that be her foremost concern, and enjoyed the children a lot, did fun things, baked cookies. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed her too.
Okay. Now, was she someone at that time that wore expensive clothes, flashy jewelry?
No, she just dressed normally, the way all of us dressed with children at that age.
The and how often did you would you say that you had contact with her during this time?
Oh, once a week, twice a week at the most.
Okay. And did you and your family socialize with the Brodericks at all?
A little later than that, we did socialize with them some.
Okay. When was that?
I had a little girl 6 years later. I remember that we were at a Christmas party at Betty's house, and so that was 6 years later.
Were they?
Well, in this case, and families around, it was very, family-oriented type of activity.
Okay. Did you go to any parties after her separation? Did you become aware that she separated from her husband at some point?
Yes, I did. And I did go to parties at Betty's house.
Okay. Were they again family parties?
Yes, they were.
Okay. Were her children always there?
No, her children were not necessarily there. It was always a question as to whether they would arrive or not. And most often, they did not.
Okay. From what you saw, how would you describe her involvement with her children?
Well, whenever I saw her with them, it was concerned and caring, but directive. A person who knew what she wanted for her children and was concerned that, it would work out for them, and hoping it would be the right thing.
Okay. Was before her separation, when you first met her and through the early 80s, did Betty often make complaints about Dan, or how did that appear to you?
Well, before the separation, not really. I think we were all proud of our husbands. They all worked hard and they weren't around too much, and so we just, tried to make the best of it.
Okay. But there's nothing that sticks out to you that this was someone who was always complaining about her husband?
No.
Did you become aware of, you were aware that they did separate in 1985?
Yes.
Okay, and did you at any times did you become closer to her more after she moved to Cali de Cielo?
Yes, when she moved there, that was only 2 blocks from where I lived, so I saw quite a bit more of her at that time, and so I was able to kind of track her moods and feelings during that time.
Did you notice any change in how she felt about herself or self-esteem while?
Well, yes, really pretty dramatically that, her life was going down the tubes, basically, and she felt horrible and she looked horrible, and she was really quite taken up with this as a horrible process the whole time, and how she couldn't get out from under it. It was such a chess game, and she was always being cornered and in check and checkmate. It just was very unbearable for her.
Okay. Did you notice any change in her habits?
Well, I didn't really see these things myself. I think she lived, you know, outwardly rather normally.
The did you ever hear Betty use profanity?
Yes.
And can you circumstances you would hear that?
Well, usually when we would be talking about the frustrations of the difficult divorce and how she was so unable to defend herself in this adversarial system and how she was anxious and frustrated and more, and the language would start to come.
Okay. Did you ever hear her use the words kill or threaten?
Yes.
Okay, and can you explain those circumstances?
Well, in that same context, the frustration in talking about what can you do, how horrible this is, you're trapped, you're the victim, you're the person who can't get out. Every time you turn, the system gets you in another corner, and there's another situation that develops, and the frustration level at that point would be such she would say, I'm going to kill him. And
Did you ever hear her use profanity in front of her children?
Not really. I may have once. I don't recall any particular time. It was usually with just me as we talked about this.
Yeah.
And I would use it too.
Did she ever talk, was there any conversations about what she needed out of her divorce?
Well, she felt that she needed to know, needed some resolution of what was going to happen to her, and that she needed the security. I think she was frustrated to think that it would never be possible to raise those 4 children the way she wanted to in a single-parent family. She had standards that she wanted to maintain, and with one parent it's not easy, but she wanted to know what was going to happen, and she wanted the children.
Okay.
When you indicated that she felt she needed some resolution of the issues, you were aware that as of January of 1989, that there was a resolution of the issues, that she was aware of at that time about her ownership of the house, about the amount of alimony that she was getting, about visitation schedule, about the property that she owned, about her retirement pension fund that she owned. You knew that there was a resolution of that as of January of 1989.
Well, my understanding was there was never a resolution about the children and what was going to really happen in that situation.
But there was a resolution about the financial things, and wasn't
Well,
that
I
what
wasn't party to that. I wouldn't know what that resolution would be. I mean, it's very complicated.
Okay, and the only things that you knew about the process of the divorce came from her telling you, correct?
Yes.
And she wouldn't necessarily tell you about what exactly was happening in court, or what the resolutions were about the financial matters.
No, she told me what she perceived was happening, and she was feeling victimized and very panicky and afraid.
She was feeling victimized by everyone. She was feeling victimized by Dan. She was feeling victimized by her attorneys. She was feeling victimized by the judges. She was feeling victimized by her friends. Just about everybody, correct?
I don't know about the friends, but about all those others, probably.
Your opinion is that Elisabeth Broderick has a very strong personality, correct?
Yes.
She's a very strong, intelligent, assertive person, correct?
Conversationally.
You've indicated that she was also a very controlling person.
Yes, she likes to have control of a situation, and I think someone like that, I myself am that kind of person. When you lose that kind of control, it's a very panicky feeling, and it's very frightening, and you know, get a little crazy sometimes.
Okay. She never had any problems expressing her opinions about things, right? She was very assertive about her opinions.
Well, except when the men were around, she tended not to want to talk about issues, you know, only talk about the weather kind of thing. You don't talk about politics, religion, or anything too controversial, because the men would not be perhaps as pleased.
So as far as Your opinion is that she never talked about politics, investments, anything like that with other men?
No, I say when I was there.
You indicated that you went to a Christmas party prior to separation?
Mhm.
Okay, and that was a Christmas party where Dan dressed up as the Santa Claus? He was the...
No, it wasn't that one. There was another, or maybe maybe that was him. No, I don't think so.
You also indicated that you never saw Elisabeth Broderick depressed during this period of time. She was always strong and fighting, was your opinion.
Which period of time?
After separation?
Gosh, no. That was never anything I would say. She was very depressed, and she was gaining weight, and she was depressed.
Let me show you a defense investigative report, page 2, the first paragraph. If you could read the highlighted.
Never really saw Betty depressed. She just saw her strong and fighting. She did, however...
Excuse me.
Oh, I
didn't. No, I didn't give you the correct. If you could just read that to yourself.
Oh.
This is referring to you, Mrs. Olson stated.
Yes.
And see if that refreshes your recollection about whether or not you ever...
But when was this?
Well,
Time
about after
stated
separation.
notice Betty became more fixated in the relationship with her. Couldn't seem to let it go.
Ma'am, you need to read it to yourself.
Oh. Well,
Isn't it true that...
I just saw her acting out then and doing all the other things that relate to depression.
Okay, but at the time when you were originally interviewed, isn't it true that you said that you saw her becoming more and more fixated on her relationship with Dan, that she wouldn't let it go, and that you never saw her depressed, you just saw her strong and fighting?
Yeah.
That she was always very assertive, she sometimes acted zany. Is that your word? Zany?
I use that word, yes.
And that she became consumed with the whole process and with losing the relationship with Dan.
If that's what it says. But of course, depression has all those features in it, so I've learned more about depression since then.
Okay. Did someone talk to you about that? Is that...
No, I've read a lot about it. I actually wrote a paper on it 20 years ago that I pulled out the other day, and it was pretty amazing. It's right on.
Did she ever talk to you about the things that she was doing to cause any problems in the process? Did she talk to you about firing her attorneys, firing people who had been hired on her behalf?
Yeah, less about that than about her acting out. She talked about running into the door and pushing the car off the road and acting out situations that she was so angry and so frustrated and that kind of thing. So that to me goes into the depression. You either act it out or you internalize it.
And prior to the separation, it was also your opinion that she was very strong in the relationship between her and Dan Broderick. You described him as being a rather quiet, shy, cute man. The defendant was a dynamo and dramatic and seemed to be calling the shots.
Yeah, that's how I would have had that impression, because I thought she was a very dynamic woman. And he seemed kind of like an overgrown fraternity boy.
Okay, and she seemed to be calling the shots about the relationship, correct? That was your statement?
Well, yeah, little dramatic, sure. But she seemed to know what was going on when I was around her.
I have no further questions.
Redirect.
Yes, sir. Are we going
Sure. Redirect.
Yes. The parties that you attended, those were parties that were family parties, where they were basically Betty's friends and children?
Yes, I would say a lot of them were lawyers' families, looking at it. I know a lot of those families, and they were Betty's friends and some others.
Okay. You didn't attend parties where there was just, where there were Dan's friends that were there as just lawyers?
No, my husband's not a lawyer, and so we were not invited to those parties.
Thank you. No further questions.
Recross.
No, Your Honor.
Witness be excused.
No objection.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
taller than my pen.
Certainly.
I thought it was a little lap blanket.
Your Honor, the witness called, she wasn't feeling well, but she was on her way. We called her at 9.
Well, why don't we just take the morning recess a little early then? That's all right with me.
Yes, and then
Good place to
I
break.
believe after that, there'll just be 1 or 2 witnesses, Your Honor.
So we're going to get through before lunchtime?
As you've seen how long the witnesses take.
I'm sure the jury's glad to hear that. I know I am. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take our morning recess at this time. We'll be in a recess, we'll say, for approximately 15 to 20 minutes. When the witness arrives, I'll send my bailiff to get you. Please remember the admonition.
Please state your
Okay. I gotta write that down. What'd I do with my pen? I just had my pen. Now I'm losing crochet hooks. Throwing stuff. What'd I do with my pen? I put it up. I'm not done with it. Why did I, Debbie, why did you put your pen up? What part are we on? Part 4 of witness test. I don't know why they're numbering it like this, because then there's one part that says outside the jury's presence, and then there's another video that says witness testimony, but it doesn't say part after it. Like, I don't know what. I don't know why someone needs to redesign this whole website, and it's not me, because I don't know how to do it. I guess maybe I shouldn't say anything since I don't know anything about coding or anything, but this website is just weird. It's just weird. Thank you, Nancy. So, see? Let me turn it around. So it goes black, red, white, red, white, and then black, red, black again. So I still have black, red, black to do. So it's gonna be taller than me. Which I didn't expect because it's not that wide. I thought it was gonna be like a lap blanket. So I'm not complaining, but and it's a Minnie Mouse blanket. So I had some of the parts sewn on, and it didn't look right, so I took it out. But across the red, there's going to be a big Minnie Mouse head in the middle with a little red bow on her head. And then smaller Minnie Mouse heads on the side. And then on the black part, no, not the black part, the red part. On the big red part, there's going to be white polka dots that I'm going to sew on. So it's a Minnie Mouse blanket. And I don't think I've ever finished a adult blanket before. Because I just don't have the patience. Baby blankets, I can do baby blankets all day. But that's why I make stuffed animals. Because they're quick and easy, and a couple days they're done. But I don't know how long this has actually taken me, because what was I doing? I was making something else and diamond painting. So I was taking breaks from this to do other things. So I don't know exactly how long it's actually taken. So, but I'm gonna make another one for a friend of mine. This is for me. And I was gonna make another one for a friend of mine that also likes Minnie Mouse. And she, you guys think I'm a Disney fan? This woman is a hardcore Disney fan. Like when she goes to get her nails done, she's like, I want Jasmine nails or I want Little Mermaid nails. And then because they live stream Disney, when they go to Disney, they live stream and they do the parades and the fireworks and the rides, and she'll do like a short on YouTube. Look, I got my nails done like Ariel or whatever. She is hardcore. So she has a red polka dot dress that she wears to the parks because it looks like Minnie Mouse's dress. I am nowhere near hardcore like she is. I mean, you guys think I am, but I'm not. Not at all. Okay, so now we're gonna go to this is it for Betty today. We will pick back up on Monday morning. If you're not going to blah blah, I can't talk. If you're not going to join us for the trial of the baby in the river, I understand. I won't make you, I promise. I will see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. If you are, I can't remember if I did the redirect or not. So if I didn't, just find me. If I did, you'll be redirected because I honestly can't remember. But now I'm gonna start another stream. I decided because yesterday, this whole week has been so exhausting. Well, of course I was sick Monday and Tuesday. Was I sick? Yeah, I was still not great on Tuesday. We didn't do Betty Tuesday morning. But all the jumping back and forth this week, I was like, I'm not ever doing this again. So, in the future, I will just make a thumbnail that has both cases on it, rather than jumping back and forth. Because this is crazy. I'm not doing this again. Hopefully, we won't ever have an overlap of trials again, either. But, who knows? So, we're not doing that again. But I am still going to keep trials of the past separate from whatever live trial we're doing. So, and this live trial is a hard one. I cried the other day. So, I totally understand if you don't want to watch us with it, and that's fine. So, it's supposed to start at 10:30, so we've got 10 minutes. So, get some snacks or eat breakfast or whatever, bathroom break, all that good stuff. And I will see you over there in about 10 minutes. Have a fantastic weekend. And remember, be kind to people, love your family, and Jesus loves you, and so do I. Bye, guys.